and thank you for waiting for this episode of Cookie's Tech and Talk Table. I want to thank you, all of you out there who's been watching my videos, who've been patient, noticing that my videos aren't always consistent in terms of release and time and date. But I wanted to give a special shout out to the person who put me onto this new piece of technology. His name is StarCraft2K. Special shout outs to StarCraft2K, who left a remark on my previous GPD Win 2 video regarding SSD replacement. This particular episode, which is an upgrade to the 512 SSD hard drive replacement, is a new one. This one is about Dogfish, once again, releasing another M2 2242 SSD solid state drive, as it says right there. But what is the difference? This hard drive is 1 terabyte. Yes, you heard correctly. It is 1 terabyte. It's selling on Newegg for $220 and also on Amazon. The read speeds is 450 megabytes a second, and the writing speed is about 500 megabytes a second. Now, as far as the cooling goes, I'm just testing this out. I'm taking a leap of faith because they've managed to jam that much space into something so small. At the beginning, I was kind of surprised, but then after I thought about it for a while, there's the micro SD card in the back of the GPD Win that's 400 gigabytes. Now there's already a 512 gigabyte micro SD card out there on the market. So why not, could they not fit 1 terabyte onto something this small, which is bigger than a micro SD card? So this is not only an unboxing, but it's also the steps that I took and how I transferred the information in the current 512 gigabyte SSD to the new 1 terabyte. So before we get started, I just want to get this out on the table for all of you guys here that are listening. It is very imperative that if you're looking to upgrade the solid state drive, that you follow these steps. If you're already functioning from the 128 gigabyte or the 512 gigabyte or the 256 gigabyte SSD M2 2242, that's this right here, then you want to make sure that you back up your information. I don't think that everybody understood the way I was presenting the information in the previous video, so I'm going to do my best to explain the steps in tandem, how to follow them so that you're not left losing all of your data. The very first thing that I did with my system is I plugged it in, of course, but then I did all of the security and operating system updates through Microsoft. So that's something that you're going to want to do. Make sure that you update everything. Take your time so that after your system and security updates are completely updated, then you want to go into your control panel. It's much easier if you change from category view to either large or small icons so that you can see all the icons that are on the screen. I'm just going to turn this on just for the sake of turning it on. But of course, my monitor's in the background. I hooked up my GPD Win 2 to the monitor. I'm going to just unhook the micro USB to HDMI so people can see what's going on here. And then I'll log in. Okay. Alright, put in my passcode. Alright, so if people can see this, because I know not always the screen is clear, but if you, of course, if you go to the far right where the Windows sign is, and you go down to what looks like a gear, right above the power, the settings gear, you could go to Update and Security. Through Update and Security, do all the necessary updates, so then that way, when you're transferring the information to the new solid state drive, you don't have to go through none of that madness. So get that out of the way first. Then the second thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have an empty USB 3.0 thumbstick. I invested in this one. This is my 512 gigabyte thumbstick. This is what I use for when I do transfers of one hard drive information to another. Particularly, we're talking about ghosting the drive or making a hard drive image. That image is going to go on here because after the necessary updates have been done through Microsoft, you're going to go to your control panel right here. And then you're going to go to something called recovery. So I'm going to make this full screen. Hopefully everyone can see these icons. They're hella small, so I apologize. But I'm sure you can get the understanding. Going to recovery, and when you click it, it's going to give you these three options. Create a recovery drive, open system restore, configure system restore, etc. You want to click the first one, create a recovery drive, because you want to ghost or make the hard drive image on a thumbstick or a portable hard drive of your choice. It must be empty because this is going to format, literally it's going to format everything that is on that portable drive so that it becomes dedicated to ghosting everything that's on the current SSD. And what you will do in the aftermath, once you reset Windows on the new SSD, you're then going to then load the image from this or whatever portable hard drive you're using to back up your current SSD. So that's the prerequisite that I am highly recommending. So I'm going to exit out of this. And one thing that I like to do before I get started is I like to do all my checks. So this is my image of the 512 gigabyte SSD right here. This is the factory image of the GPD Win 2's operating system, drives, and settings and applications that's on gpd.hk. Now, someone recently put a message on my recent video from a while back, my latest one, stating that the image is no longer there. So if that's the case, I haven't checked. I will work diligently to make sure that a couple of days or by the time this video is uploaded, I will have already uploaded the official hard drive image, the operating system image that is the official version from gpd.hk. So then that way you don't have, no one out there has to struggle to get the applications, the settings, the drivers, all that. It's on this. So we're jumping from this to this to this. So this is how this is going to work here while I have this on. I'm just going to turn this off. Now I'm going to shut this down. And then, shut down anyway. And let's see here. Okay, good. It's shut down. Another important thing that I want to mention, make sure that you remove your micro SD card, because while you're formatting, it will format this and all your information is on this. So it's just a simple removal. Put it off to the side. Now everything is empty and everything is set to go. So let's get this opened. This is also an unboxing. It is completely sealed. I haven't opened it yet because I wanted the world to see the marvels of Dogfish. I think they're quite innovative. They've given me the greatest quality that I've had thus far running their hard drive, their SSDs on the GPD Win 2. I ended up getting a 256 gigabyte SSD from them, the 512, and now this is the 1 terabyte. And thus far, I haven't had overheating issues with their technology. And I can say it's far better than the King Spec, which, shout outs to the Fox, has already recommended is not the best piece of tech to invest in. They still have issues with their SSDs. So I'm going to take his word for it, since he's one of the pioneer videos online, also charting and documenting the progress of the GPD Win 2 and GPD's innovative creations. So I'm going to see if we can zoom into this just a little more. The words is very small there, but it does say 1 terabyte SSD, M2 2242, 1 terabyte. once again, shout outs to StarCraft 2K for putting me onto this, making me aware that there was a 1 terabyte recently created. So, let's go open this sucker up. I have my screwdriver here. This is more like an eyeglass screwdriver, in which I'm going to open this up here. Of course. And yes, my version of the GPD Win 2 does come with that metal piece everyone was referring to. The metal piece to keep the heat sink from getting too hot and overheating and all of that. Let me put this down here. So of course, I want to gently pull this out because I am still going to keep this 512 SSD as a backup should anything go wrong with this. So just as a disclaimer, this is an investment. No one is paying me to do this review. No one has, sent this to me. This came out of my own money. And yes, I paid $220 about several weeks ago and it finally came in. So I'm putting this in. Of course, the label goes face up. Label is face up. Putting it in. And there's the metal piece that everyone was talking about. And I'm going to just gently click this in. We want to be real gentle. Make sure we line up those pieces here. There we go. Ah, heard that? That's a click of affirmation right there. The click of affirmation. Okay, and it fits nicely, so there was no struggle, so that means nothing fucked up, which is a good sign. I'm just going to click that there. Ooh, another click of affirmation. Oh, wait, hold up. My finger got loose. There we go. And this is the part I hate sometimes, because this screw is just so damn small, I'm telling you. Okay, great. It went right in on the first try. Now I'm going to screw this in. There we go. Gently screw this in. Not too tight because we don't want to destroy the screw. Great. Now, here comes the fun part. This is the image that was created so long ago. And now we're going to already put this up in here like this. And now we'll turn this on. Make sure we're on mouse settings. We're going to turn this on. And of course, keep pressing escape or hold escape, whichever works for you. And then we'll get into a linear portrait view of everything here. So what we want to do while using the keys here, if anyone can see, because I know the picture is, these words are really small, so hopefully there's great focus here. We're going to go all the way over to boot. We're in boot. And while we're in boot, we want to go down. We see boot option 1, Samsung Flash. Boot option 2, built-in EFE shell. So what we want to do is we want to go up to boot option 1 and do Samsung Flash and press enter. Yes. Now comes the blue screen, which lets us know we want to confirm Samsung Flash Fit Partition 1. Yes, we want to boot from that. We're pressing enter again. Let's go down again. Enter. Enter. And then we should be able to exit and save. Exit configuration, yes. And then we should be booting from the Samsung Fit drive that has the operating system in it. There we go. Yep, there we go. There we go. Everything is happening. So now, let's see. Running Intel optimization, yes. Yes. Successful. It's now loading the image. So we're now at 0%. So what I like to do is I like to just put this down real gently and allow this to do its stuff. And in the meantime, while it does that, I'm going to reach over for my plug here and plug this plug into the power strip. Get this in the power strip, because we don't want nothing bad to go happen. Even though that this is at a full charge, I like to be safe. And then we're going to go and put this in here, plug this up so it got power. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, good. Copying directories, yes. All right, and that's what I'm just going to leave this alone. But just to be on the safe side, see, the GPD Win 2, I feel, has this crazy flaw where when it sits down on a table and the vents underneath it are being covered, it creates massive heat consumption, which is, I think, is one of the biggest downfalls of this system. They should have made more bottom vents to the actual device so that more airflow can get to the actual hard drive and to the components so it doesn't overheat. So when it sits like this and it sits for a long time, it starts getting hot sometimes because the vents are being shut. So my solution when I'm doing work like this, I like to pick it up and put it over this the carry case, because now, as you can see, it's a bit elevated, but now the vents are open. They're now open, and now proper airflow can get to it. Okay, so this video is about to get sped up. We're going to let this go do what it needs to do, and then we will return back with the rest of this operation. So thank you, welcome back. The image successfully loaded onto the SSD, and now I have the actual factory version of Windows 10 again from the exact image that I used from the GPD's website. So like I said before, I'm going to make sure that I upload this again because somebody notified me that gpd.hk does not have the original Windows 10 image file with the drivers and applications specifically for this device. So I'm going to make sure that I do put an upload, and it'll be a free link for everyone. Thank you for watching this video with me. I do want to make note real quick that I have maybe have put a little bit too much trust into the recovery drive system that Windows has. So I'm just going to load into my, put in my pin again, of course, and just quickly show that this is 1 terabyte. Hopefully you guys can see it. Maybe I can make it bigger. Oh, that was a bad idea. Let's see. Okay. I guess this is the most clear it's going to be. So, right there, basically 930 gigabytes, which of course, it's 1 terabyte, but when you factor in the operating system and everything else, that's how much space that I have left. I ended up doing a separate route, and I just want to make this known. Instead of going with the recovery that Windows has in this system to make your image of your previous hard drive, I ended up making another image of my hard drive using Acronis True Image. Now, I talked about Acronis in my previous videos, but I ended up using them as a backup source because the original image I had on here created by Windows Recovery was corrupted. So from the time that I loaded the image of Windows 10 for this device, after this successfully loaded, I ended up having to put in the previous hard drive, the 512, and re-image the drive with Acronis, and then put back the 1 terabyte SSD, only to go and then finally load that image through Acronis. And now this is what we have right here. All of my settings from the 512 are now completely ported over to the 1 terabyte SSD. I just wanted to note, maybe this is a good thing that it happened this way and not the other way. Perhaps I put a little bit too much faith into Windows Recovery Drive System, their factory software that allows you to make a ghost of your hard drive. It seems to be extremely faulty. This is not the first time I've had issues with Windows trying to ghost my drive, but usually it's the easiest way for some people that are not always so tech savvy. So let me just put it out there. Get yourself a disk imaging software such as Paragon or Acronis. I used to do Norton SystemWorks back in the day, but since they were bought and sold out by a different company, it's not really the same. I highly recommend Acronis. To me, that's the best. Paragon It's good, but they're the best in partitioning your hard drives and being able to rework the allocations. So once again, I'm going to go over the steps that I did following the revised steps that are mentioned right now. With the previous SSD, the 512, I made and did an image of it with a Cronus True Image. And I put it on this. Let me make sure I have this right. The image of my hard drive was put onto this. When I put in the new SSD, basically this would be the 1 terabyte, but this is the old one. Then I used the image from that used to be on GPD.hk to load the Windows file. Once that successfully installed Windows, then I installed a Cronus True Image, and then from that, a Cronus True Image read the original image that was created from the previous drive to put and paste onto the new SSD. And there you have it. I'm now functioning off a 1 terabyte SSD with a 400 gigabyte micro SD card, and if I decide to use my micro USB 3.0, I have a 256 micro thumb pin. So essentially, this device can almost hold a little bit under 2 terabytes when you factor in all the ports being used, from the micro SD card slot to the USB 3.0 slot to the upgraded SSD. Thank you guys for watching this video. I know it's been a long time since I made another video, so I want to say thank you for your support. No one is paying me to do this video. I'm doing this strictly for the public and for the love of Chinese electronic devices. If anyone has any comments, please feel free to continue writing your comments onto my videos. I look forward to being prompt and swift in answering any questions that are out there, breaking this down even simpler if anything that I said came off as confusing during this whole process, switching the old SSD to the new SSD, and then ghosting the image from the old SSD and pasting it onto the new SSD. Alright guys, until next time, stay cool.